Good day. Today I'll be talking about my test 1 redo. As I'll be explaining the coding that I've used and the time that I've been able to do this. So we'll start with the beginning with our first cell, which is always going to be reoccurring. We upload the table, we load the file, we open the table. So we start with our question 1. So question 1 states, list what schools sent the most students to the UBIT program for each of the 7 years, indicating the number of students that school sent. So we selected the year, school, and the number of students. As we go down, we started sorting out the year, number of students, and we made sure that we send this true. Then we use the next word, distinct, which allows us to use for each of the year only, which gave us this table. Which gave me 7 from, so in 2010, the most that the high school is Belmont Comprehensive sent 7 students. Well, in 2011, they also had 15 students, but in 2012, Sacred Heart sent more than Belmont Comprehensive. But then again, of course, Belmont Comprehensive took it for 2013, 2014. Then Wesley College came in 2015. Now in question 2, it asks, list the total number of students sent by Sacred Heart College over the 7 years. So I selected my school and number of students again. And so I grouped up the school and I relabeled it again. And I used the where function and I used arc equal to, and I found out that Sacred Heart College sent 51 students over the 7 years. Now in question 3, we look at list all the schools that sent 10 or more students to the UBIT students over the 7 years. So is where I selected again the school and the number of students. What I did, I summed up the schools and I also summed up the students again as well. Now I made sure that the descent is true from highest to lowest because we are looking for above 10. And then in that coding, I made sure I looked for where they were. Use a where function again to find out if they're above 9. So if I put above 9, it would give me 10 and above. So here is what I got. I got Mount Palmwood Comprehensive School with 67 students, while Independence High School got 15, and I also have 4 other rows omitted that have also 10 different schools. Now in question 4, here it shows I list all the schools that sent less than 10 students to UBIT students over the 7 years. So what I did is I just reused my same coding, reused a similar coding that I got from question 3, and then asked the where function that's below 10. So it gave me 9, which gave me most of these and plus 50 more. Now in question 5, this is how many schools in total sent 10 or more students, how many schools in total sent 10 or less students, how many students in total are sent by schools that have sent 10 or more, or how many students total are sent by schools that will have sent less than 10. So then I show what are the percent of both. So first, I look for the total sum of the students for the big schools. Turns out that's 345 students. In the below one, under 10, it shows that I have 157 students. And here in the row, it shows how many big schools there were, and there were only 14 big schools, where I use question 3's coding, and this one I use question 4's coding. And the next one is questions 4 coding, where there were 60 schools. So I built a table and built the percentages, and as you can see, small schools, big schools there's 14 big schools, 345 students, and it was 68.7% chance that they came from that their students come from bigger schools. And in the small schools, as you can see, there are 60 schools, 157 students, but only 31% of the students came from a small school. Now, the bonus question was so confusing, but this is what I tried doing. This is in a table about what percent of schools are big schools and what percent are small schools. So, in my first attempt, I put big schools would be 18% of all the schools that the students were sent from. That'd be 18%, while 81% of all the schools that make up all the schools were small schools. But just in case if I get it wrong, I maybe get some points off of these two here. Well, that is my test 1, and thank you for listening to my test 1. Good night.